Hey guys, how's it going? Back again on February. I wish. Maybe I don't. January 30th, 2021. I don't know why I said February. Huh, whatever. Uh, okay. So, yeah, we'll leave the pictures on. I'll check the chat. I doubt I'll get anything at this time. But in fact, I haven't been getting much of anything lately. A few of the regulars. That's about it. Nothing. Nothing too drastic, surprising, or anything, really. Um, and to be honest, I can understand it to a certain extent. If you look at I think if you look in general at like an honest reflection, I know my niche, and it always has been train simulation. It's where the channel was built. It was RTS. Um, it's one of those things that I have tried. It was a concept. I had probably the best engine that I could ask for in Run 8, and it was a great engine. It was a great way of being able to being able to highlight some of the ideas I had in logistics, car forwarding. Those are the type of things that I really look forward to, and always wanted to see pan out in other programs. Train Sim, I tried it. It was difficult and tedious to set up, so it never really worked out that well. And thankfully, right around that time where I was getting frustrated with it, actually, I was going through some ideas with Train Dispatcher, a few other things. That's when Run 8 came around. And I was able to hop aboard before it went live. I was able to have the uh, really the privilege of being able to be on the beta team. And I may sound humble in that respect. I don't take the fact that I was on the beta team for granted. That was probably gave me enough of a jump start to at least allow my vision to potentially be something that I could build on, build an audience, whatever, and I did. I built an audience. It didn't have to be the most popular, and it wasn't. Um, and it lasted. It built along with version 1, and really it led into version 2 because when version 2 came, I'm not too sure exactly when I gave up my server, but I knew version 2 was something that I could potentially go on my own, or do my own thing while others did other things, but still be able to do something in my own way. Version 2 at its peak was really good, and then it kind of went downhill from there as far as I'm concerned. And it was because not so much because the updates are still coming. It was that there was a lot of content, a lot of add-on routes, and when you get, as I've said before, when you get so many add-on routes and you get a big enough region, you're now, as an end user, well, no, sir. Let's start with the server side. If you're on the server side and you're trying to run a system, a closed system that allows you to take advantage of every single potential, as real as it gets, operation that goes on within a region, you're left with two choices. You either buy everything, buy every piece of rolling stock that comes out, because you know people are going to be buying certain pieces of rolling stock and want to use it, or certain cars and want to use it. You're going to want to have every single route that is available for that region. If you're in California, guess what? You got a lot of routes to buy. But the double whammy about California region, as much as it's popular to some people, and a lot of people like it because it's that big, from a server standpoint, having to, number one, buy into so much, and then have the challenge to get enough people to man all those locals that need to be done, that need to happen, or else the system just grinds to a halt. And that's exactly what I started seeing happening. It was happening while I, about a year, at least a year ago, probably started happening 2 years ago, if I recall. I started seeing signs of it. Actually, once LA came along, and Quincy's mentioned it before, with LA. I got LA as a gift. I wasn't going to buy it, so it was gifted to me. And at the time, I was like, well, I could run LA by itself because it has a lot of potential, but and I wanted to use it. But see, I fell into that whole trap in itself. And it's not Ski's fault. Ski just gifted me LA, so it wouldn't have mattered. Put it this way: had I not gotten if I didn't bother with LA and we stuck with just with Cajon, Needles, and the other, the thing is, and I was still doing sessions or whatever, my numbers would have gone down because there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to get LA. And yes, there was a lot of first timers who didn't have all the add-on routes and all that other stuff and just wanted to run stuff like that. I get it. But the fact is, because most people out there wind up buying an additional route, that puts extra pressure on the developer. Then you go into regions that aren't as popular, and suddenly you're up to even more challenges. Oh, felt like I had to sneeze. But anyways, so this was the problem that I had with Run 8 towards the end. I wanted smaller regions. It's never happened yet. I don't know if it's going to happen in version 3. I don't know when version 3 is happening. I gave up worrying about that a while ago, and that's why I started pursuing other interests in 2020. I had made my mind up fairly early in 2020, I think. So it's been almost a year. I can look at my rail driver right now. It still sits. It used to sit here connected for the longest time. So much so that I was going to use it with trains, and then I just decided to disconnect the thing because I wasn't really using trains that much, anyways. And even at that point, I had so much to build and so much to develop. I really didn't have time to operate the trains the way I wanted to. Building regions with one person is a tough thing to do, no matter how big, small the project is. There's just so much that you want to get right. And I like trains. It was it was really the one thing that kind of sparked my interest back into train simulations again, because I was like, okay, this is cool. I've got the AI portion, and I thought, yeah, this is cool. I wasn't too worried about the physics. Running it was never going to be like Run 8, and I understood that, and I was fine with that. I've never had a problem with that. I like the idea that I can develop whatever region or whatever operation I want, and I still may do that in 2021. The jury's still out with that. I may still do that. I went back on the trains form, I think about a week ago, cut up, and then I avoided it again. I mean, I spent so far to get caught up, and I was looking at the screenshots, and yeah, they were exciting, and they look cool and all that. But I mean, the community is friggin' huge, and to follow those forums, it takes a lot to follow those forums. And there's other things that are going on in the world right now. I just didn't want to follow it every day, or I just didn't really think about it every day. So it's not always on my mind every day. And you miss a few days, boom. One day you decide that, yeah, you want to fly the drone. One day you decide, well, yeah, maybe I want to play this game, or what? Maybe I want to play Dyson Sphere. Maybe I want to, go into the long dark. You end up doing that. Um, and I've been fine with that. I don't regret the only buyer remorse I have is NIMBY Rails, unfortunately. Uh, NIMBY Rails is fine. It's exactly what they said it was going to be. I think. I'm trying to go back on that one, and I'm thinking to myself, what is it that I thought I was getting myself into with that thing? Um, it might get better. I don't know. My son seems to like it. Um, but for me, he understands. He understands why. For me, it's just like, what the hell? I mean, it's like watching paint dry. It really is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's on a real world map or not. It's just uh I don't know. And it got me actually the one thing the NIMBY Rails did was it really got me thinking about RTS again, except there was a pro and a con to it. Because while NIMBY Rails was actually a concept that I actually had, but more with the freight side of things, I really thought about that, and I thought, man, I always wanted to do that real world thing type situation. Um, but I still may go into procedural generated because if one thing has taught me, Dyson Sphere, although I'm only playing one version, I procedurally generated one world. Actually, Emmett has another one that we first started, but I mean, I've it's supposed to take 50 hours to do a Dyson Sphere. We're already 7 hours, 8 hours into it, into this one playthrough right now, and we got so far to go, and it's so awesome. I can't even and there's other programs I have back there that I haven't run. You pick up a game, it's about the cost of a friggin' lunch. It really is. It's not a big deal. And maybe it's because the price of lunches have gone up. It could be. Um, I mean, for some people, forking out $20 is not exactly um, a thing that people can afford. It's not like I buy a game a month because I really don't. I might if I think I'm honest, I probably have bought 4 or 5 games in the last 12 months. So about once every 2 months, 3 months tops, I would think I would probably purchase a game, but I'm not sure on that one. Um, I mean, if I look at the games, my games folder here, everything else I've already gone through some of the stuff that I was doing, but as far as what's in my games folder, actually I've taken a lot out. And looking at the years on here, well, I see 2019, 19. I did Kerbal Space Program, January 16th, 2020. Actually, I've been less than half a dozen for sure. Trains Railroad Simulator Okay, so there's a new shortcut as of 2021. So that's still the same. I don't know why the shortcut changed, but it did. Um, Everything else that's on there. I mean, that's old. American Truck Simulator, June 13th, 2019. So I really haven't produced that much. Kerbal Space Program was the last other one. The Crew 2, I can't believe that's been. I still play this. We played this last year. This was 2018. It still lasts. Subsistence, 2017. I know I played it last year at least once. I don't play it as often. Stormworks, 2019. That's something I still play. Star Trek Online, I don't play that anymore. Run 8 Train Simulator version 2 from 2018. No. I, you know, I may have played it a few times early 2020. That was about it. Um, Transport Fever was a good one. Trains was yeah, that's the other one this year in January. Like I said, 2021 came around, and then that's when I started seeing, you know, 2021. What am I talking about? That came in 2020. Sorry, I started. I don't know why it's got a date of this year. I already went through that. Survival, that's old. Stranded Deep, old. Um, well, I don't even know what the Open TDD thing is, to be quite honest. Next car game, that's old. Fishing, Barents Sea, that's one I think I played once or twice last year. Euro Truck Simulator, I don't run. American Truck Simulator, I do. I did run that a couple times this year. Um, Arc, that was something for my son. Didn't last. So, but that's my list of games, really. So it's probably less than six, at least. I can't think of anything else. The Long Dark came in 2020. Dyson's Long Dark came in late 2020. These two came in 2021. Um, so you could say, well, yeah, you've done two this year, but that I don't play. My son still plays that. He still plays Trains, which we got early 2020. He's got a version. I got a version. He's doing a lot more than I am. The big thing for me was the drone this year. I think that actually took me away from uh, worrying about doing much on trains for both of us, really, as far as programs. Although he did pick up what the hell did he put? Some cyber league. I don't know what the hell it was. Some game where you play soccer, cyber league or something. Play soccer with things or whatever. He also has damn, what's that stupid game with the blocks? I can't think of it. He doesn't play it that often, but anyways, it's a very popular one. He's got that too, and he's got Among Us. Among Us is pretty cool. I like Among Us. I was thinking of getting that myself, but didn't do it. I decided not to. I enjoy watching other people play. It's kind of fun, but that's it for as far as the entertainment side goes. So, yeah, it's 11:54 right now. I'm gonna be going to bed shortly, but my problem as I'm going through and trying to figure out exactly what it is people want or expect. Thanks for the like, I always appreciate it. Um, because that I'm not sure. I've got, I had 499 subscribers. I think I'm down to 497. Whatever. Um, so if I was to go through and if I was to go through, let's see here. Do I want to go into my channel? Can I go into my channel that way? Probably not. I know there's a way I can do it. Well, maybe I can. Actually, I think I should be able to. I think I can. Live chat. I can't find it. There is a way to do it. I know there is. Um. That'll work. Okay. So 497 subscribers running this video right now. Um, I'm goofing around here with a few things. Uh, but Dyson Sphere ran tonight, 7 views, not bad. Uh, Self-isolating. Basically, I started talking about it there with a spare time. Look at NIMBY Rails, which really didn't feel. This video was not that important. But then I go back even further, and I was just like, okay, well, it's a train. And it just doesn't pick. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, why am I worried about it? I got some really cool videos. I even showed it in one of the live streams. So I've got a lot of videos. I'm thinking to myself, why am I doing that? I do a meme and I get more freaking. I got 3,900 views on that. Posted a bunch on Twitter, but boom. Most popular video, some of the most popular videos have to do RTS TD3. So 7 years ago, in Barstow, 15-minute video, TD3. Again, simple 15-minute video. And then creating MSTS without using the consist setter 8 years ago. So this is right around the time where it wasn't necessarily run 8, but I already was getting a base established here. I believe I took a lot over here, and then that was it. It never transferred to anything else, because everything else here is run 8, as you can see. So you look at the most popular videos, everything is run 8. And that's the majority of the videos on my, the way things are. I know my base. I have no doubt I'm fully aware of what my base is. The problem is I don't do videos to make other people happy. I have to make myself happy. And Run 8 is what Run 8 is. I can't help the way Run 8 is. It's not doing anything. And if it's not doing anything, how the hell, am I supposed to pretend that it's doing something? Am I supposed to make something out of, whatever it thinks it is? I don't care if there's one or two servers out there that, are looked at really good. I mean, the last update was November 25th, 2019. We have not had a press release since December 6th, 2019. So we're over a year from any public press release. We hear statements. You have a community page of maybe that's changed. I don't know. That looks different. I don't know why that looks different. They might have changed the page around a bit. They say they're now on YouTube. They put like 2 videos on there or something. It is what it is. And yet I don't make any money and from any of this, be it YouTube, anything like that. And I try to go out of my way to try and get the conversation going. Sure, I'll go into other subjects. Yes, I'll go into politics once in a while. I'll do anything I can to get a reaction sometimes. It's not that I need attention. That's not it. I don't care. I mean, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I'd rather have this thing back, called a community. If our choice is in a community, and they don't even have TrainSim on here. TrainSim is a community. Maybe they don't like it. I don't know. Whatever. This is the ones that they post on here. Train Sim's been around, and it's well moderated. It's heavily moderated, actually, quite frankly. Uh, you start talking, and they say, "Oh yeah," they say, you know, some of the other people were saying they're going on about something with me, and it's just like I got to the point where I just said, why don't you just kick me off? Other places have don't like because I say something or rock the boat or whatever, and they can, but they don't. They just ban another video or sorry, not ban another video, lock another post or delete messages or whatever they have to do. Things are rather calm right now. I'm not. It's like I can rock the boat only so many times. It's just it gets it's a waste of my time. Um, but even when I'm trying to behave myself, this is the thing that I don't get. I'll try to behave myself and I'll try to get in the conversation with the guys. I go on Train Sim all the time. I go on it more than Trains Forum. It's much easier to keep up with. There's not that many posts. There's probably a good, I would say, half a dozen to dozen people who frequent the forum for Run 8. And there's people enjoying Run 8. And there's people who have questions about different things like operations. What do I do? Just because I don't use Run 8 anymore doesn't mean I'm not going to reply and help people. I'm fine with helping people. So when they get, they ask a certain thing or whatever, I'll get involved in it. I don't mind it. That's what community is about. Problem with my community is I don't know where it stands. I don't know how we communicate or how it. The only way the communication comes is from right here. There's two ways to communicate, and I put it in the description of every video. And sheets, you goof. Sites. This is my sites. So, of course, this thing isn't working half the time. So I produce a bunch of comments in there. I got sick of doing it after a while. I do it a few times. It's just kind of like the YouTube version. Scott goes on there, but other than that, there's not much going on. It's pretty dead. Nobody really wants to talk about anything. I'm like, okay, whatever. And it's pretty sad to in reality, because what else is out there? Is there really any train simulations? So if I was to go and do a Google search of train simulations, train simulations 2020. Let's try that. No, I don't want that. Attack simulator, that's not what I want. Train simulator. We'll go with train simulator for a second. Of course, that goes right. It always defaults on that. It always goes to Dovetail. I have no idea what that's all about, but so DB Train Simulator, whatever that is. Microsoft Train Simulator. Train Simulator Online. What's that? I have no idea what that is. I've been on this site years ago. Popular train simulators with free downloads, add-on resources at RailSurf. Trains. Yeah, so you got a bunch of that. Microsoft Train Simulator is still around. Free online train games, flash required. Choo Choo Puzzles, Coal Express, Choo Choo Build the Bridge. I have no idea what that is. Epic Rail. Train Traffic Controller. So there's a lot of games out there, but Centralized Traffic Control Simulator. Cities in Motion. Freight Yard Manager is still there. That's probably one of the best ones. I don't know about some of these other ones. So there's a lot of them out there. Rail Cargo Simulator. That's interesting. Hmm. Zusi, yeah. World of Subways, that's another one. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. Related rail serve categories. Yeah, so there's not really, there's a lot of different stuff out there, but not exactly what I would call something that I've really looked for. Um, there we go. So, what is it? What is it that I like, or what is it that I think that really is the nuts and bolts? What was it about the Run 8 that took me to it? One, that it did have a train simulator. It's probably physics wise, there's nothing like it. There's nothing that beats it, hands down. Best train simulator on the planet. That's what I've always said. There's a difference between a train simulator though and other things like railroad simulation. So if you go for railroad simulation, you have to look back to Freight Yard Manager. Now, it's interesting that Freight Yard Manager comes up because I remember a time where I had a lot of time on my hands. This was when I wasn't working, and I actually enjoyed Freight Yard Manager. I was able to. Here's the thing with Freight Yard Manager. It's not a pay to play, but it's a time to play. You have to put the time into it in order to get the fun stuff. So most people, one of the critiques about going into multiplayer is a lot of people say they don't have the time. Sometimes they only have a half hour, whatever. They just don't want to be part of something and not be able to do much, or be able to do something on their own time when other people are around, etc., etc. Makes sense. So you've got you've got that aspect. It's just like, okay, well, you have to put a lot of time into it. So what made Freight Yard Manager interesting was if you had a lot of time, you could work your way into getting some of the busiest yards out there. I had Toronto Mac Yard for the longest time. I had Oakwood Yard for the longest time. Toronto Mac Yard was the hump yard. So what's weird about it is it's an on-demand system. It's not a real-time system, and that was something that I always wanted to see because I at the time I was always lobbying the creators of the program. I would say, you've got a cool thing going, but then I said, why not get it so that you bring in, like, I always wanted to bring in dispatchers. So I tried doing that. I knew there was a dispatcher community. In fact, a lot of those dispatchers got into Run 8. Some didn't, but a lot did. I tried to get more into it because I realized that having dispatchers is a key element to some of these bigger regions. So I thought, well, you get the more dispatchers in, you can have more sessions, especially in some of the bigger regions. You still need people to run the trains, unfortunately. That's where it really becomes. You need a lot of people who like to run switchers and just switchers. Not everybody wants to run a switcher all the time. Some people like to run trains. Some people want to run a road freight where they do a little bit of switching and then do a long run. I prefer those myself. But I flew over there today. I was off to the right a little bit, flying along the hydro canal to the right, and then in behind along the path. So it was kind of cool. But I got 421 at Clifton uh, today as well, so that was cool. That's what that photo reminded me of when I saw that. That's not from today, but anyways, a lot of snow on the ground actually, in comparison. But yeah, so Freight Yard Manager had a lot of promise, and it's still out there. It's still for some people. But again, if you weren't up there, and that's the other thing that it was just like, well, if you had something that ran 24/7, which it does run 24/7, but it runs on a the way it works is it's a transfer system. So you own you have rights to be the yard master of particular yards, so you receive files of trains coming in and you send trains out to various yards that connect to you. So it's all about yards. It has nothing to do with the main lines in between. It's all about the yards. Yes, there's some major junctions for whatever reason are modeled. I guess just because they're cool looking, but really all you need is the yards. So you have all that. I've looked into doing a lot of different 2D ideas. My son's getting into programming, which is interesting because he's getting into Java programming, which is really interesting because they're teaching that in schools, and he says he never learns anything in schools. But then all of a sudden, I hear he's doing this. I'm like, like maybe he's gonna like that stuff. Maybe he can handle that stuff. Maybe he wants to do that stuff. I don't know. But that makes me think about the future and think, well, it could be. But again, like the amount of work you put into something. I work. I've been able to thankfully work all of 2020. I've had a great year. Probably the most money I've made ever was this year, and it's great. I'm very fortunate. Believe me, I know that compared to a lot of people. And I don't think it's necessary. I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Personally, that's just my idea, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic about it. That's just the way I see it. But hopefully it gets better. Not too long after that, late this year maybe. We'll see. But in between though, there's going to be a lot of issues. But anyways, I don't want to get into real world stuff. I try to escape that stuff by doing things on the computer. So you've got those two staples are okay. Then you got your what I call eye candy simulators. So you got your trains, your sorry, not trains. I shouldn't group trains in that. That's not what I meant. So trains is not by no means an eye candy simulator. It's about as good as Microsoft Train Simulator as far as graphics, I would imagine. Although it's a little bit better now. 2019's pretty good, but Trains has been around as long as Micro. That's what I meant to compare it to. Microsoft Train Simulator and Trains have been around well before Run 8. Trains has gone through various versions. Run 8 went through a stagnant, didn't do anything, and eventually people started with open rails, and that kind of took off from there. But it really didn't go too far. It can only go so far as I'm concerned. It's still Microsoft Train Simulator. It's just prettied up and fixed a little bit, but it's still, the backbone is Microsoft Train Simulator. As far as I can tell, I mean, yes, they've put multiplayer, they've tried a few different things. Uh, as far as I know, there's nothing spectacular about it. It's nowhere near Run 8. I'm not. I can't even compare it to Run 8. Does it have a good amount of uh, freeware, payware, add-ons, all kinds of other stuff? Blah blah blah. Yes, routes, you name it. Uh, it's been around. It's like trains. It's been around forever. Trains keeps on changing versions every few years, so then you get a little bit of a disconnect. But a lot of people are loyal to the product and can continue to upgrade. I was around before Run 8, and I did get trains. For whatever reason, it didn't work on my system, or I wasn't really trying that hard, so I didn't bother with it. The 2019, um, the whole 2019, well, within the year 2020 of getting uh, Trains 2019 was a much more focused project for me. And I'm not saying it's done. I certainly keep that. Right now, it's stagnant. It's. Do I want to do it? Yes. Do I want to go through all the trouble? Is it worth all the trouble? I'm not sure. I haven't figured that one out. When I have distractions like Dyson Sphere and the Long Dark, and then sooner or later we're getting, the days are getting longer. Spring is coming. I'm going. Certain restrictions are going to be out. A lot of COVID restrictions are being dropped in various places. They're coming up. All these things are going to start lifting, and I'm going to have more opportunity to fly. It's cold as hell. We're in a cold snap right now, although today was a nice day in comparison. It's going to get cold again before it gets any better, and then it's like in about 5 days we're supposed to get rain. So then we'll be above freezing again. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting out of the house again. I enjoyed. I did a little bit. We walked a little bit today. Flew the drone. We walked a little bit. We flew the drone. Watched 421. Did a little bit of a walk up to down this path, and then we were able to take the drone off, do a full flight, and flew over the whirlpool. Came back around. It was a pretty nice flight actually. Um, so yeah, it's. I mean, nothing's changed with the drone. The drone. Nothing's gonna change with that. I'm looking forward to the vacations I take this year. I got extra days vacation that I have piled up and ready to go. So that's coming up. I haven't really booked anything yet because I don't know what's going on, but I think March break is going to be the first one I hit. Uh, Perhaps, but I'm probably going to end up being home. We'll wait and see how the weather goes, but I'm going to keep it in mind as February moves on. But um, so it is what it is. But so yeah, like, but getting back into the whole, so there's trains. I could do it. I just haven't. When I saw NIMBY rails, I got excited because I thought to myself, okay, and it's, don't get me wrong, it's very early. It's very early. Actually, so is Dyson Sphere. The big difference is Dyson Sphere looks like a complete program. It is getting huge reviews. So is NIMBY. NIMBY's getting huge reviews too. What I don't understand is why NIMBY's getting so many huge reviews, because there's nothing wrong with the program. It's not like there's false advertising or anything. There isn't. It's just I should have watched some more videos on it before. I saw a lot of videos on Dyson Sphere, and I was just like, "Holy crap! I gotta get this." And Utah Dyson Sphere is freaking amazing. That's just, you got totally. And I love logistics. I love logistics. It's part of my job. Uh, I wouldn't. The type of logistics I do where I work is a lot different than the type of logistics I love doing. But I love the challenge of having so much going on. There's even chemistry elements and physics elements involved in Dyson Sphere. Space exploration, although we haven't really hit that part yet because I can't get off the damn planet. I'm still trying to research all these things, and uh, we're getting our refineries going. We're just getting oil going, so we got a ways to go. But I have a blast in that, and the crazy thing is, I really want to be able to do something in trains, and not trains as in Z. I'm talking about trains as in the computer. I want to. I just don't know what there is anymore. And there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there for me. The only thing that's out there for me right now is Trains with a Z, 2019. I'm not gonna bother with the next version. I don't care about the next version. There's nothing that the next version's gonna have that's going to make me interested. Run 8, that's a different story. I don't know what Run 8 version 3 is gonna have. Everything I've been told about it, as far as movable bridges, don't. I mean, I think it's cool, but that ain't gonna get me to buy it. Um, I think they have turntables and transfer tables. Like, okay, whatever. None of those things interest me. They talked about an AI hump as a possibility. At least John did. Thought that was a good idea. Okay, fine. What they need to do is get into the smaller regions, which they might. I thought that was something they were going to pursue before they went into version 3 personally, but whatever. Because they could be making a hell of a lot more money right now if they got into some smaller regions, I think. One, I would certainly get into it. And I would. I wouldn't hesitate. Now some people have said, "Oh yeah, you should try running on Bakersfield." Yeah, I can run on Baker. I can run on any of these by myself. I actually seriously considered, after seeing some videos of Trona, I seriously considered, well, maybe I could do something there. Problem is, every time, and my son was the one who kind of talked me out of it. He said, "You're gonna get into it, and you're gonna be all excited, and you're gonna try something, and it ain't gonna work because you're gonna miss out on what you really want." Because I tried to equate it as, well, I could do it by myself, yes, and yeah, the AIs can do a lot by themselves, yes, but ultimately, I do want to have the automation, not just the AI running, which is a big change from version 2 to version 1, but because I can't guarantee having the clients. I want a train simulator that is able to handle the logistics involved in it. I want to be able to walk. Basically, here's what I want. And call this, you can call this, what do you call it? I was going to say a button list. That's not it. I don't know. Wish list. There's a word that I'm thinking about it. Pipe dream? No, that's not. It's not that far. It's not a pipe dream necessarily. Here's ideally what I would like to see in the train simulation. Number one, as much as I would love to see the views that you would get into your classic eye candy simulator and having nice graphics and sound and all that other stuff, which really gets you immersed into it. The physics do an incredible job as well. Those aren't necessarily game changers. You can have you can take either or a little bit of. You can even go 2D. If Freight Yard Manager kept me captivated for long enough, that's where I looked at, and this is where I questioned NIMBY because I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. I was even thinking of doing RTS similar to that, but with manifests, but not necessarily in the real world. But I definitely wanted 1-to-1 ratio. I wanted real world um, distances and stuff like that. But I think I wanted single track and sidings and AI trains and different things that would happen, and possibly being able to drive a train here and there, or be able to switch them, or whatever. But get something in there where it's really doing different things, or different having. My son said he thought it would be neat if NIMBY came around and then had cars and had an order system, and I said, well, that's what RTS would be doing if I did that. And he basically said, well, why don't you do that? I could go into procedural generated maps. I could do. It doesn't really matter what the background is. I mean, I can make a route of anything. I can make my own route. Hell, I can make an. It doesn't matter. Um, and maybe I'll do something like that. Maybe I'll put a concept out in something pretty small and just say, okay, well, let me see if I can run some fair concept and see how it goes. Um, it's a possibility, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know if I have the stomach to. But it's a possibility. I just do I want would I rather spend 2 years? I would think at least 2 years on trains to get a route that's even remotely manageable, or visible, or identifiable, I guess. I mean, yeah, I can get some things up there, but there's a lot of work. It's not going to look like it. So if it's not going to look like what I see the picture there, the locks and all that other stuff, what really stands out to Niagara, and I can't get into the artwork. I don't, there's people that know how to do art, but not sure if it'll work with trains, or not interested in trains. These are the kind of things that I see with my drone footage. And this is why I got the drone, is because I wanted to go in there and go deep and find these things, or find these places which I could either model or find models, or get the right location of the track, and the right heights and the right grades, and all that other stuff, and the right operations, all those things. And if it's so important to get the eye candy right, well, wait a minute. Maybe it's not. Maybe I can operate on a 2D level. Maybe I can take my concept. And I think I talked about this before, probably about a year ago, if I recall. I was going to do something like with some type of yard simulator or something. Um, but maybe it's something I can look into again. But I'm in no rush. That's the thing. I'm in no rush for any of that. But here's the conclusion of all this. Whether or not I do this year, whether or not Run 8 comes out with something this year, whether or not I decide to do something in trains, I still don't know these things. The bottom line is this: as far as my tether to the community, it's thin. You could say, well, yeah, that's your fault, Sean. You're cutting ties with everybody. I'm not cutting ties with anybody. I'm trying to stay as part of the train sim community as I can, or allowed to, without people being smartasses. And when people be smartasses, I stand up for myself. That's all. That's the way I am. So no, I'm not trying to remove myself from the train sim community. I'm trying to be part of it. I have a website. I have a discussion forum. I have my YouTube channel. I have ways people can get in touch with me to tell me what it is they want. I get people tell me what they want. And they say, they tell me they want me to do. I keep forgetting the stupid name of the game that my son likes. Uh, I want to call it Tetris, but it's not Tetris. It's like an open world game where there's bricks and stuff like that, and you build. Yeah, it's the name escapes me right now, but it's very popular. And it's just like, why don't you do a series on that? I was like, why would I do a series on that? I'm not interested in it. I didn't reply to him like that. It was just a nice comment and everything, but I don't mind suggestions as far as doing something, but give me something that I would like that involves stuff I'm interested in. I'm interested in space. I'm interested in logistics. I'm interested in trains. That's about it. Everything else, and survival. Those are the four genars, whatever you want to say. Those are the four things. Everything else, I mean, it is what it is. So I haven't had too much. Haven't had too much communication back with YouTube as far as, or sorry, not YouTube. Yeah, maybe I was thinking YouTube. I don't know what I was thinking. It's getting late, and I'm starting to ramble again. But I haven't had too much communication back and forth. I mean, even the live chat's open right now, but yeah, if people are there communicating, or if they, I do appreciate the likes, and I'm getting more views than I got earlier. But um, it's this is going. I gotta stop. My voice can't handle it, and I'm out of water. So, and it's getting late, and I should go to bed. But anyways, just in closing, I don't know what's going ahead. I don't know what is really going to happen with my online presence, but all I know is at this point, when I look at the views of what's happening, and I'm down to single digits in a lot of videos, it's not even worth me uploading processed videos of drone imagery. It's not worth me going through the trouble of adding music to it, or trying to put nice titles on it and all this other stuff. I enjoy it for me and my son. We enjoy it. I like sharing it because if it makes people happy, then I'll share it. And if it gives views, then I know it's making people happy. If it's not getting views, if it's like single digits, 20, 30, I had some pretty good views the other day, and then just goes down to single digits again. I'm like, okay, whatever. And who knows? Maybe I'm disfranchising my audience. Maybe I'm getting into some topics they don't like. They can say. They can certainly comment on it and tell me. And we can talk about it, or basically I can, I don't want to offend people. I'm not out to offend people. But I try to, when there's something political or something that's on my mind about the real world, there's a lot of things going on in the real world. I tend to usually give a warning on the screen as far as what the screen looks like, what the title's talking about. None of this. I'm not talking politics right now. I'm not talking about anything else but my hobbies right here. So I'm not going to get into that stuff. But it is the way it is. So there's not that many train simulators out there that meet my criteria. And yes, I can still write a program, but do I want to go through the trouble of writing a program, and can I write it with the least amount of effort to make it something I can build upon? If that's the case, if the answer to that is yes, then maybe I need to just keep it simple and try it and see. If something like NIMBY Rails can actually be successful to a lot of people and my son finds it interesting, well, okay, I don't know what it is. He says, oh yeah, but it's on the real map. I'm like, yeah. I says, you can put a friggin' station in the middle of the mountain. How's that real? So I, I was like, you can put a state. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it really has. He says, oh, yeah, well, he said earlier today, well, that's coming. I'm like, yeah, and how much space is that going to take? How many people are gonna be in? Uh, how much of that hard drive is going to take to have the whole freaking world? I says, I don't need the whole world. I mean, it's nice that the whole world is there. I think that's kind of cool. And it's cool that you can go into your part of the world and build something. And that was what kind of got me interested in it. But then I realized, well, wait a minute here. I just want to? I'm building the commuter system, and then I kind of forgot that. Wait a minute. I've never been into doing passenger runs and commuter runs, let alone just building the routes to watch them go back and forth and try to see if it can pick up passengers. And make changing your schedule and making it a better system and all this. It's more of a strategy game than anything. It's not really my cup of tea. My son still likes it, but I think he's gonna get bored of it sooner or later. But we'll see. I wish I bought it for him instead. I should have too, but stupid me. I thought that, hey, live and learn. He could play it when I'm not doing anything. I told him, I says, yeah, you can come down here if you want to run it for an hour or so when you got extra time. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll produce something. Maybe Run 8 will produce something. Maybe maybe something else will come along. I doubt it, but you never know. Um, it's a micro niche within a niche. That's the thing. When you're a micro niche within a niche, it's different than seeing Dyson Sphere and space programs. That's got a lot more interest. Sci-fi is very interesting to people. Space travel, that kind of thing. Um, Factorio type environment meeting a space exploration thing. It's really cool. Um, so those kind of things are really cool. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Will I get it back into trains? I don't know. Possible. I haven't. I keep thinking about it. Every now and then I think about it, and I'm thinking, I might get into it, and then then I decide to do something else. So I'm not thinking that hard about it. But anyways, keep the communication up, guys. If you want to talk with me, you know where to find me. Descriptions in the description is where you will find my site where you can communicate with me. Those are the ways that we can keep this community going. If I don't have them, or if I don't have feedback, if the bottom line is I don't need acceptance. What I need to know is, am I wasting my time trying to please others, or do I just need to keep doing the things that I need to do for myself and say screw everybody else? And I'm starting to push towards the latter. They have the market sewed up. Oh, you mean the eye candy games? I ain't worried about the eye candy games. Well, and that's the problem is everybody wants to make money. Everybody's out to make money, and then the people who have the potential to make money don't know what the hell they're doing, or I don't know. I shouldn't say they don't know what the hell they're doing, but they don't seem to know what the hell they're doing. I don't know what the hell they think they're doing, but anyways, I won't give you an idea who I'm talking about. But anyways, like smacking your head against a wall. That's no, I mean I understand that the market is tight because of all the big projects that are out there, but of course they're money makers. And they got big studios and they got a lot of people and that's great. But there's a lot of independent. NIMBY Rails was done by I think one or two people. I think it was solo actually. I've seen a lot of programs done by solo developers. Train simulation is a little bit different. It's not as easy. Run 8's done with, I would say, a dozen people, but um, like I said, I don't know what the issues are with them right now. No, and it's got to be it's got to be a person or a group of people who really want to who really actually it's got to be honestly it's got to be a group of people or a person who has a passion. So if you look back at Run 8 and how they started, they were heavily involved with doing um, add-ons for Microsoft Train Simulator. So that's how they started. Eventually, they just decided to create their own simulator. They don't have, and the reason why I say solos will work, and this is why. John, I don't know how good of a programmer he is. And I don't mean any disrespect to that. I don't know. He's done a great job with Run 8 up to this point. He's done what he's can. But John was not a massive programmer going into this, as far as I recall. He got into it because he was willing to get into it, and it was all about Run 8. So whereas and I mean, he's done things that I can't do. As far as and then you have the artist that's involved there, Nigel. Um, and you got guys who are willing to the so-called root slaves, as you will. Um, but when you think about it, I'm not too sure how many people are really involved in Run 8. So you got your root slaves. If if the majority of the people in Run 8, for example, are root slaves or other things and third party and this and that, I don't know, and testing, I'm not too sure when it comes to programming, it's really a one person show. I don't think, no, maybe there's two. I'm sorry. I think there's at least two. There's at least one other person who's there to help them programming wise. So, but it's really up to John. It all comes down to what John can do. And don't get me wrong, I don't know if there's pressure on him or not. There may not be any pressure on him. And I don't know. We don't know. They talk, they do their thing. Um, People get wind of this. Nobody talks to me. They'll get wind of it and you get all hissy fit and start making they'll all of a sudden make a post over on Train Sim about, oh yeah, the people who think Run 8's dead. I'm like, Yeah. Um, but anyways, um, exactly, and I didn't see that. So yeah, he put it this way. What John's done, and I'm not saying he's a bad programmer. What he's been able to do is he's been able to use the the experience of real world engineers and crews that have provided plenty of feedback to him as to how the brake systems works, how the trains would feel, all that other stuff. So he's got the feedback. Really, it's not. I mean, the game engine, or as far as not necessarily the game engine, but the whole engine as far as the physics engine, I guess you would call it, of their train simulator, I guess. It's been around for 8 years. Nothing's changed there, and I don't think anything is changed. To me, that shouldn't change at all. Don't fix what's not broken. It's fine. There's nothing as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, there's people who complain that something got broke because of this and something got this and all this other because of this adjustment, blah blah blah. I think it's fine. I personally think it's the best out there. There's nothing that can beat it, and I think it's fine. Now, do I know? Am I a real world engineer? No. Did it get broke at some point, like some people claim it did? I don't think so, but who am I to say? Um, uh-huh. I, I I'm just reading that last line and uh, my lips are sealed. Let's put it that way. Oh, I don't want to get myself into trouble. So, yep. Well, okay, I'll comment on that. I can comment on that without getting into trouble. I think that's definitely true. That statement is true. And there are plenty of people out there who can, make. I don't know what he needs. To be honest, I honestly I don't know what he needs. But I know what the overall program could use, or the overall simulator could use. And we're not talking version 3. I don't give a rat's ass about version 3. Get the smaller regions can, like, I mean, is the program that screwed up right now that they can't get smaller regions in? They can't add smaller regions in? Think about it for a second. You get one, two, three smaller regions in. I don't give a damn. Hell, I'll take one. Give me one smaller region. You put it in there. Is it going to sell? Put it at a price that you think is reasonable. You don't have to be it doesn't have to be a $40 price. Give it to something like 20-30 dollar range. I'd say I'd be shooting for a $30 range. So you get a $30 region that is not as robust as one of the routes that are out there. So it's able to run, say, 60 miles. I mean, no, the Bakersfield, I don't know, is Bakersfield $40? I think Bakersfield is okay. I think Bakersfield sub is $40, and that's got to be damn near 60 miles, at least, or right around there. So I mean personally, I could you know you could really, it doesn't have to be 60 miles. It could be freaking 30 miles. There's 30-mile subdivisions where I'm at. There's two of them. Um, so I'd be perfectly fine with having one 30-mile subdivision that has a modest traffic level. I mean, yeah, it could be class one, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the busiest lines or the transcons. Just get something in there that's maybe got some CTC, um, a few sidings, single track, a medium-sized yard, a few industries, something that can be handled both by single player but can also be shared by more than one and can be run by one person successfully. If I had that, I would buy it. I think others would buy it too. The fact that it's $30, people will buy it. Quality over quantity. People will buy that. Instead, they have this concept of creating regions. They like the interconnecting routes. They like to build onto this. They're building onto the southeast. I think they talked about building onto the northeast at one time. California, we already know what that's like. But so Bakersfield is $40 still. Is it 40 miles? I don't know how long it is. Somebody recommended it to me. I'm like, I want to get in Bakersfield. I mean, I could run it for myself and get it. I might be lucky to get a few people on. Somebody told me to go for it. I'm like, yeah, maybe. It's tempting. It's on the northern line, but I'm just not interested in it. 110 miles. I don't need 110 miles. That's the problem right there. Yeah, 110 miles is too much. So you go for something that is half of that, or even three-quarters of it. You sell it for $30. I just read your other paragraph. Holy shit. Poor Brad. Guy's had health problems. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't want to see anybody get tossed, but anyways, I don't know. Whatever. Their business. It was his. I don't know if it was his creation. Well, it's John's programming. I don't know. But anyways, I mean, you got all these root slaves, and well, you got root slaves, and what the frig are they doing? I mean, are they actually? I wonder if they're actually beta testing a version 3 right now. That's what I want to know. Because if they're beta testing a version 3, holy crap, I would have. Think about it this way: if they've been beta testing a version 3, which they're not, I highly doubt it, but I could be wrong. But if they're beta testing a version 3 for this long and are that silent about it, um, nah, I just don't buy it. I remember back in the day, there was never a secret. Um, the only time I've ever had a non-disclosure agreement mentioned about anything was a couple years ago. That was the one time I was reminded about the non-disclosure agreement that is still valid, even though I had been out of the beta team for years. I was just curious about something. But anyways, but I was reminded about the non-disclosure agreement, and I'm like, okay, if you don't want me to say anything about that, I won't. And I never have. That's why I kind of laughed. But so, um, I won't say what I was laughing at, but get myself into trouble. I don't know why. You say that NDA is dead? It should be dead because I'm not part of the beta team. So, all right. Well, since let's see if I can get into shit. I'm willing to try it. I'm a shit disturber. Let's see if I'm willing to get into shit. It's 12:56. I should be going to bed. Never mind this shit. Um. So I cracked up and said my lips are sealed about something you said back there. I'm not gonna say what I want. I'm not gonna be that blunt. I'll give you a hint. You said something up there that had me. I said my lips were sealed. And if you connect the dots without, you don't even have to say it. If you connect the dots and think about, let's just say, how would you say this? Let's just say either suggestions or ideas or offers. I have done what I was tried to do as possible. I've tried to help as much as I can. So that's all you need to know, or anybody else needs to know. And I won't get into the any more specific than that. So there's my breaking of the fourth wall. Hmm. Yeah, and it's okay, and it was declined, but it is what it is, and it's fine. They do what they want to do, and they have their reasons and decisions, and no, 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 no. That's I'm not. I don't feel like that. No, they don't want. They don't want. They don't want people. They don't want it openly available to everybody. Is the thing. They don't want the tools open to everybody. They want to control it. So I understood that, and I was fine with that. So the fact that I perfectly understand why they want to control everything and they don't want to keep it, or they don't want to open it. John's totally against it. It's John that's supposedly totally against it. I don't know if others are or what. I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, and that probably puts up an interesting point because their tools, if I can read between the lines, and this is totally, this is totally based on what I know and what everybody else knows for that matter. Reading between the lines, I don't think the tools got out. They may have. That's interesting. They may have. For version one, that's a very possible. That's very possible. But okay, so from my understanding, and this is what I remember. Okay, I remember a time, despite the fact that John calls me a liar on this, and he says that he never said such a thing, which I thought I remember him saying, but then again, my memory's not the greatest. So, since I can't prove it, or I can't go back, and I could care less about going back and rehashing whatever the hell the old message was and where it was or where I saw it. I remember a time. Number one, whether I remember a time or not, there was something on their website that I've gone over and over again a few times, and that was they had the developer's kit. And all you have to do is go back into you go back into the Wayback Machine, and you'll see the developer's kit, and it was there, and then suddenly it was gone. So you go back into that Wayback Machine, and you see it, and it was gone. Now, this was before all this drama took place with the reskinning and all the other horse shit. I forget when John had mentioned about opening up the tools. That was the wording I recall. Opening up the editors is what I heard. He said it on one of the forums. He claims he never said that. I can't prove it, and nor am I going to waste the time. That's my word against his word. He's calling me a liar on that. Okay. So it is what it is. So I won't bring it up on another forum. I'll bring it up on my own YouTube and just spout at it and say, that's what I believe to be the case, and I believe that the editors were in play at one time, or at least being considered. The problem was, from what I could tell, based on what I was seeing on the forums only, had nothing to do with inside information because I have none. I had one piece of inside information that happened 2 years ago. That was it. And it was basically a decision. It wasn't even inside information, so I have no idea what the hell it has anything to do with non-disclosure because I didn't sign anything before the meeting. Oops, did I say something? Uh, okay, forget the meeting. I'll say email because there was no meeting. There was emails, but anyways, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm in trouble now. Anyways, I don't care. So go back to what I know as far as based on the forums and what everybody else knows. You look on those old forum posts, the editors, to me, in my opinion, were probably rudimentary. They were probably took a lot of what do you call it? They would require a lot of support and a lot of babysitting to get through, which is why they've never been designed to be user friendly. I understand that because the RTS is that way. RTS was never designed to be user friendly. RTS was designed to make it work for me, and I knew how to make it work, and then others eventually did. So I think that's what it has more to do with. And if it was something before version 2, which I don't think it was because I still think this was between version 2 and 3. If I recall, this conversation happened somewhere between 2 and 3, not before 2 came out. Because before, maybe, before 2, but I don't think so. I think this was something I heard after 2, and it was before 3 was coming out. They were talking about editors again. And it was John who mentioned it, but he's totally against it, he says, so whatever. So maybe I'm mistaking a lot of things, but that's what I think it's about. But it's an interesting hypothesis when you say that the editors may have got out and that's something to do with the decision or whatever. But there was also a route called Chicago, and I don't know what happened with those guys, but from everything I could tell, it probably didn't end very nice. And this is all hearsay, but I don't know. It's amazing how these things happen with some of the Run 8 guys. Um, they seem to get into these interesting arrangements. I mean, they have good relationships too, but I remember another guy that used to be associated with Brad or somebody, and whatever. They used to war it with each other before Run 8 came out, and one was called the parent names of the companies were very similar. I think his name's Mark. I can't remember. Or whatever. So anyways, I'm reading your comments now. Then I should go to bed. Remember they said access to the tools were closed off, but okay, you can tell me when and where. He said it was almost a year and a half after Run 8 came out. Nah, wasn't that long. Oh, a year and a half after Run 8 version 1 came out? I didn't think it was that long ago. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know about the XNA thing. The Chicago route never died. Chicago route was on version 2. So what's this about Chicago route never died? You saying they're running it somewhere? They can't run it because it's not into the program. Oh, really? So what? The guys went to Dovetail and screwed him? I didn't know that. Or said screwed Brad, or somebody said screw you, and just ended up doing their own thing. I don't know. I didn't know that. Really? Oh, maybe that's why I sense tension. Honestly, here's my hypothesis on all this. I don't think it has anything to do with version 2 to version or sorry, I don't think it has anything to do with version 1 to version 2. I don't think because it was around when version 2 was being developed, version 1 was coming to the end, and all of a sudden you started seeing the reskins and all this other stuff. And apparently from what the guy was saying, he was he was told he could do it or something like that, and or he asked permission or something. I don't know. Beats the hell out of me. But he was doing it for his own personal use, and then others wanted it or something. But anyways, at least that's what he said. Uh, because in the notes for Chicago Route, it was mentioned to being created for Run 8. Woo! Version 2 started off fine because the problem was version 2 got too big. But I think the bigger the roots got, at least for me, the resources started acting weird. Um, but they wanted these big, huge reach. I honestly, I don't know. The other thing too, and this is another thing, and I'm not too sure if it has something to do with the overall roots table or what. But I wonder too, and this is me totally speculating, but I wonder if the issue as to why the smaller regions couldn't be added is because even if they added any smaller regions or anything else in addition, they haven't had a new route in a year either. So I'm wondering if they finally realize they're at their limit. They can't do anything else. Period. I never really thought of that. Uh, John was mentioning, or somebody was mentioning John's post or whatever on the Happy Go Lucky Everybody's My Buddy forum. Um, but they were going on about, or he was going on about how how Run 8 wasn't dead and blah blah blah, or yeah yeah yeah, still be developed, and nobody realizes how I have to do this or that, and going through bugging and recaching and or redoing, or I don't know what the hell it was, but I know bugging or debugging on your own takes a long time, especially if you're dealing with spaghetti code. But you know, spaghetti code's a son of a bitch. Sometimes it's better to just write from the beginning, start from the beginning. Yeah, I don't know. I've had to do it a few times. Believe me, it's not fun. I've had to do roots from the beginning. I've had to start roots from the beginning. I've had to start programs from the beginning. It's sometimes it's what you got to do. It's quicker to just start over from scratch and take whatever asset you can and then deal with it when you get around to it. All you have to do is then just you know whether it's a new game engine, whether it's something. Once you've done it, the second time around, it's not going to take as long. But just I don't know. It seems weird. Yeah. Well, we'll see what they do with version 3. I have no idea what they're doing. But I don't know if it's the game engine. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I I haven't got a clue. It makes me it makes me, here's a real simple solution. And I look no further than trains as an example. Trains uses a launcher. Well, I shouldn't say that. They have a launcher, but that's to me, if you want to get around an overhead issue, you avoid going into the program to begin with. And why do you need to have all the routes in one package when you can go in, clear your memory, launch a route, and you're just dealing with the route. Now, I guess the problem with that is you've got some of these regions that are ridiculously convoluted, and I don't know. I maybe they do that when they clear up when they go between one, if they load one route or one region to another, maybe they already do that. I don't know. If they do, beats the hell to me. Maybe there's a RAM limit, or they got so much code in there for to deal with each region. But I think it should be open ended. It should be open ended. It shouldn't affect it. Um, but there's a lot going on, especially AI wise. AI and all those humps. Those humps take tremendous amount of AI as it is. But maybe well, no, apparently they're saying it on everybody's favorite forum. That's what I hear. That's what they say. Anyways, I don't know. Us little people, we're not part of. As they say, what was it? George Carlin says, "You're not part of the club." We're not invited. Um, Multiple routes, all sorts of shit. But go backwards when you're using something that was created for Xbox 360 games. Yeah, I don't know. It's 1:17. I should go to bed. Way past my bedtime. Hey, that was fun. Holy crap! 1 hour 42 minutes. That went a lot longer than I expected. I was shooting for 30. Anyways, nice talking, Quincy. Oh man. But yeah, who knows? Hey, we'll wait and see. I'm not worried about it. I mean, at this point, yeah, go to bed. Yeah, nah. The only reason why I have to go to bed is, well, my son's gonna probably sleep in. I'll probably wake up before him. But I had a nice sleep last night, so that was my sleep in night. So hey, okay. Anyways, we'll end it for now. But like I said, as far as what I'm gonna be bringing to the table, who knows? I'm just having fun playing whatever I can that I enjoy. Um, I do wanna get into something trains. Trains are always going to be the one thing I come not trains, but train simulators is always going to be the one thing I always want to come back to. It's something that is a huge passion that I've never really been able to scratch fully. The closest I ever was, like I said, the beginning of version 2 of Run 8. I don't think I could get to that as far as my creativity goes. My creativity is going to be a hell of a lot different. But if anything, I'll go back to where Freight Yard Manager was when I liked it, or some of the concepts that Freight Yard Manager does. Do something like that, and then see. Um, but I guess I'll talk to my son tomorrow about it and see where he is along the line as far as programming. I'm going to look into what I'm doing, and then we'll see. And then, but as far as communication, other than you and I, Quincy, you can go on my forum anytime. I mean, it's not a really a forum though. That's the problem. I think you have my email, but and I can give away. What is my blah 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 blah. I can do this. I can do this. I don't care. Let's see. I'll change it if it's bad, but I got Discord copied. Okay, so I copied it. Is that my username? All right. Here's my Discord. I know this will come up. Yeah, there it is. There's my Discord. Look at that. Yeah, well, I think I have to accept people anyways, so uh if you get that's my Discord, and I think I have to accept people who use it. But if you have Discord, that's one way of communicating with me as well. I've got to look into that. I talked to Scott about that as well. He may be more familiar with that than I am, or even my son. But I don't know if publicly I should be sharing that. If not, it's no big deal, anyways. But that is my Discord username and handle or whatever. So I don't mind adding people if that increases our community to be able to talk to each other and keep base, because the way it's going right now, my YouTube following is dead. And I'll show you what I mean. So when I look at what's going on right now, and yeah, I've gotten into political shit too, but uh, my drone videos have just fallen off a cliff. But I stopped doing them for a while, and then 3142, but that was like 4 weeks ago. That's not going to climb much more. That's a very short one. That's fairly short. Not too much going on there. I have other ones that might do good. Who knows? But it's Dyson Sphere is Dyson Sphere. It is the way it is. Um, but other than that, I just play around for the most part right now. There's nothing. Uh, I haven't done any trains for who knows how long now. Been at least a good couple of months. So, but yeah, for some reason I have to. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know what you mean by politics. It's kind of interesting though, because that sometimes this sometimes gets the most views, but it's not so much I'm trying to divide people. I'm not trying to divide people or get people into their tribes and all that other horse shit. But I just want people sometimes talking about their differences and shit like that. Hence gaming. Yep. No, I agree. And trust me, politics. I was into wrestling, and they started talking politics, and it turned me right off. So, but you know, when something bugs you, or I let people know, and if I heard people say something like you said something, I was just like, oh, I was curious. I was just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it doesn't go too well, but like I said, it's I think there's some real world things too to talk about, but I don't know how do you do it. Like do two channels or something like that, but yeah, people are afraid of not knowing. Well, one thing I'll say this about politics. This is what most people will agree, and it's the biggest thing right now. It's not so much left versus right as the people want to say it is. It's actually it's actually us little guys versus the big machine. I think it's more us versus them as far as because you see what's happening with this whole GameStop thing. That that was really refreshing to see. That whole GameStop thing, and I'm telling you right now, unless I have a lot of people who are hedge fund managers or big banksters or anything like that, um, that was kind of a bipartisan, other than the theatrics and all the other BS that was going around. Um, that was something that a lot of people could agree on, whether the common person could agree on. It really exposed a lot of the horse shit going on in the world. those are the kind of things that I want to awaken to. Is awaken more of some of the bullshit going on in the world. But it's always been us versus them. Yeah. But that's the kind of things I want to talk about. I don't like trying to talk about because like I've had my beliefs on different sides. It's political parties. I'm more of a political atheist, to be quite honest. I don't even vote for the most part. Of course they did. That's because the people in control are the elites, and now they'll do they'll do investigations, and they do investigations. They throw the little guys in jail and give you big fines, but then when the politicians and the elites and the banksters do something, they just get these big huge fines possibly and slap on the wrist, but never get any jail time. So you gotta love that shit. Anyways, it's getting too late to talk about any of this shit. So, but yeah, that's kind of the fun thing. I think I did a video on that. I did a video. I'm pretty sure I did a video. Jesus, Murphy. That's a good one to talk. I was on Twitter like crazy on it. Because Twitter was going nuts. And Twitter I can't stand lately because of, yeah, honestly, there's just a bias. There's a bias on Twitter right now I cannot stand. But for that one cause, it was good. And Dyson Spear, blah blah blah. Nope, I guess I didn't talk about it. NIMBY, blah blah blah. Isolating my spare time. Probably not the best picture to do because I repeated it, but anyways. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna end it for now. So, I don't know. We'll see. You guys got my handle right there in the chat. If you want to try to connect with me on Discord or whatever, I have it on most of the time, and send messages back and forth there, or go onto my Google site in the description. And that's about it for now. So I don't know when I'm going to be on next. Could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be a while after that. I've been doing less and less of this, it seems, these days, although I've done 2 today. And this was quite long. Anyways, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Nice talking to you, Quincy. See ya.